I've always had a passion for being around and learning about animals. When I was younger, going to zoos and animal parks was always a part of my life. I wanted to share my passion with family and friends, so I started working with people that loved animals as much as I did, and my YouTube channel was born. Welcome back to my animal educating series. Sitting here with Doug at the Peoria Zoo. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. So, it might be a little bit hard for you guys to see, but we have a Chinese alligator down here. Haven't found one of those on the channel before, and it's pretty cool. So, where can you find these Chinese alligators?
Just in China. We do have quite a few of them in the United States, about 400 animals. We have, I think, six or seven different genetic lines represented, which is far more than we have actually in China. There's actually thousands of them in China, but not too genetically diverse. So the Zoo Association is trying to reproduce these animals in captivity, and eventually once they'll take them out and release them.
Are you guys breeding them here, or are you holding facility?
We're just a holding facility. We've just got the one female at the time. The neat thing about them is they can reproduce for a long period of time, unlike a lot of other animals. So, 30, 40 years from now, if we need more Chinese alligators, we can reproduce them and then take those babies out into the wild.
So most people are familiar with the American alligator. So what are some of the main differences between them?
Size. Completely size. Our alligator is about 29.5 pounds. That's pretty average for an adult female. That's about as big as they get. 30 pounds, maybe 32, 34 pounds at most. But they're much, much smaller. They look a little bit different, but it's only one of two alligator species in the world. So you have the American alligator that gets very, very large, and then the Chinese alligator, which is much, much smaller.
So what kind of environment do they like to be in China?
Well, basically just small pools. A lot of the places in which they're found have been drained, much like the places in the United States. But they're really not deep water crocodilians. Basically small farm type pools, ponds. They eat a lot of snails there. They also eat small rodents and small fish, things like that.
So probably we found a pond similar to this. Not very big.
Not very large, just kind of more of a depression more than anything. Yeah.
It's definitely enough to hide them, especially with the lid pads there.
Yeah, we're both looking to see where she was at. She's just hanging out there, so she is kind of hard to find some days.
Especially for most people who imagine the American alligator with a much bigger head.
Well, then everybody comes running down here to say, hey, let's see the alligator, let's see the alligator, and they're kind of disappointed that it's not as big. And they said, oh, is this a baby alligator? And then we get to explain to them, no, this is an adult alligator, that's as big as she gets. She's pretty cool, though. I mean, they're really, really neat animals.
Yeah, the Chinese alligator isn't all that common. They're kind of hard to find. I think this is the second zoo that I've been to, including the St. Louis Zoo that has a Chinese alligator.
I'm not sure exactly how many zoos have the Chinese alligators. I don't think a whole lot, maybe 15. I know Toledo does, Columbus does. There's a few other facilities.
So are these alligators part of the SSP?
Yes, they are. And that program basically manages these animals. They determine which animals might breed and which animals might not, and where they're going to be housed, where they go to. So eventually somebody might need our animal genetically, and might take our animal and maybe swap us with something that's maybe not as desirable genetically.
And you said there's a whole lot more genetic lines in America, so I bet that's a bit easier to deal with than over in China.
For sure, for sure. In China, they're looking just to reproduce them for the leather industry and for food industry, so
which is unfortunate.
Which is kind of part of it, But eventually, they might hit some bottlenecking or something. Something might happen, and they might lose a whole bunch of animals, and then not be able to recover those animals. So that's why it's so important to have as many different gene pools represented as possible.
And is she specifically part of it, like with the breeding, or was she an offspring of it?
She was an offspring of the breeding, for sure. And she's been here for a little over 20 years, and hopefully someday she might get to be with a male and maybe reproduce. But she can reproduce for a very long period of time, which is great, and she produces a lot of eggs at one time, which is great. So there's a possibility that 20, 25 years down the road they might need another crocodilian, maybe they need more babies, and maybe she'll be slated to be bred with a male. So,
about how long do they live?
Well over 50 years. Many crocodilians in captivity, well over 75 years. Out in the wild, your chance of surviving isn't nearly as great. Humans really played a toll on these animals. We're hoping that eventually, 15, 20 years from now, maybe the Chinese government will get on board like the pandas. And we think that this is going to happen with the alligators. These people will finally say, man, this is our animal. We should have it. We should have it here in China, not here in the United States.
They'll have a kind of a realization moment, like, oh crap, we need to do something about this.
Well, and I think we're at least we were born at a good time in which we realized that hey, we need to start saving a lot of these animals if we ever expect to see them again. So, and I think the Chinese will come to that. As the China economy is growing and things are happening, people are far more aware of conservation and how important it is to have animals in the environment. And I think eventually they'll want some of their animals back, and we will then be sending animals to them.
And you're gonna say that we're kind of born at the right time for this. Like, for me, I don't get a whole lot of references to older movies and such, but I get to go to zoos and see like natural environments that aren't just like concrete and metal, and get to see like conservation projects like this.
Sure.
So for me, at least, this is a really cool time, and for like a lot of people who are a part of this, like you.
Well, I started in the mid-'80s, and I still saw quite a few of those concrete and barred exhibits and things like that. It still fascinates me that that's how animals are kept. That people really didn't think a whole lot about the animals' well-being, welfare, about the psychological effects of being in a very stark cage, thing like that. So now we're building exhibits that are far more natural, places they can hide, places they can get out.
Enrichment now.
Enrichment, yeah, things like that wasn't heard of in the mid-'80s. People were still doing it, but not to the extent they're doing it today.
But now, like, knowledge is so prevalent, and we know so much more about these animals and about the well-being, and we can do that for them.
Right. So, the more we learn and the more we know, the more we can do for everything.
And we can help any sort of animal, including this Chinese alligator. Well, thank you so much for telling us about the Chinese alligator, which is not an animal I know a whole lot about, so it's kind of cool.
Read up on it, it's pretty neat. Good to talk to you.
Nice talking to you too. Thank you. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and also check out my Instagram, @Cole Shirk. As always, I'll see you next week.